Hello and welcome back to Culz Book Reviews. Today we are checking out Forgotten by Olivia D. Curtis. Now, the path to finding this book was actually kind of interesting because the other day, me and Andrew were wandering around Festival Park as we often do sometimes with Jiggy, the Giganotosaurus, and we came across a book signing, obviously for Forgotten by Olivia D. Curtis, and we got to talking with her and her parents, and we said, hey, why not do a book review on Forgotten and help spread the word? So let's check it out first, and then we'll kind of get into what the book is about. Up here, you can obviously see the title Forgotten. Right here, the head of the main character forms the O. And down here, you see a child, and we'll kind of get into what this child to adult shadow kind of represents. And then, obviously, see the author, Olivia D. Curtis, there. On the side, we just see the title Forgotten and Olivia D. Curtis. Now on the back here, we do see a brief description of, what the book's about, and we see, the main character's name's Tim. And down here we see Olivia, who was 11 years old. I think she is now 12 is what her and her parents were telling us. And this is actually her first book, so we thought, hey, that's really cool. We've never reviewed someone's first book when it was their only book at the time. And so we said, hey, we're going to review this and try to help spread the word, like I said at the beginning. Down here is the ISBN, though. If you guys are looking for it, you can find it on Amazon. We'll definitely link it in the description below. So this book clocks in at 196 pages. And much like any nonfiction book, just words. One thing that's different with ours is, like I said, it was a book signing, so we were able to get our copy signed. It definitely is structured a lot better than that last book we read, which, that James Dean book was not very well structured. This actually was structured really well, especially for being someone's first ever book, especially at the age that they were when they wrote it. I was quite impressed, I will say that. So Forgotten follows the main character of Tim Hendrickson. Now, Tim, in the beginning portion of the book, is about 5 years old. We kind of get a brief playthrough of his life up to that point, but Tim does eventually die. He drowns in a pool, and he blames himself for this, as does, his mother and father, which we'll get to further down the line. I don't want to spoil too much yet, but we will say for now, before we get into spoilers, that this is a book about reincarnation. And so, unlike a lot of the other books where we spoil stuff, I will give you the rating and recommendation now, and then we'll get into some of the spoilers in just a brief second. So do I recommend Forgotten? I do. Let's try to help Olivia have really great success with her first book. I thought it was actually pretty entertaining and offered up some interesting speculation on reincarnation, which we'll get to in spoilers. So overall, yes, I do recommend it, and I would give it a good rating. An 8 out of 10. I think it's a pretty fair rating for this one, especially because it's her first book, and I actually kept wanting to come back to it. I sat there, about halfway through, and I said, do I just read it throughout and see what happens? Because I was really enthralled with the narrative. So there you go. You have my recommendation. Check out the links below for Amazon. But let's get into spoilers now that we can talk spoilers. So you've been warned. From here on out, anything I will talk about will spoil what happens in the book. So Forgotten, like I said, is about reincarnation, and there's a good bit where Tim is in the afterlife, and I'm not sure if it's like purgatory or, just like a heaven or just the afterlife in this book. I'm not quite sure, but I do know he can watch his mother. And then there's this series where he's dropped and is just falling, and does take this turn that says do not enter, and gets reincarnated. And this is where the reincarnation is a little bit different than maybe people might think of it. I think a lot of people think reincarnation as a cycle of you're born, you live, you die, and then you're born again. And in this one, it's tweaked a bit, where Tim is born, he lives to the age of 5, and then he's reincarnated, but into an older body, obviously around his parents' age. And this kind of comes into conflict with his journey to find his mother and father later in the book, because they definitely won't recognize him. I guess even if it was a small child saying it, but when it's an adult, especially in our time, it probably seems really awkward and weird to the parents that someone knows your name, knows about your dead son, all this and that. And that's definitely the struggles he faces in this book. And we definitely see, I don't know, some parallels in a way to a book I read called Rant. Now, Rant, I'll have to do a review on at some point, but it was kind of the same, not reincarnation, but more time travel in that. Or at least it reminded me a little bit of that book, Rant. Now, Tim does meet a couple of characters throughout this, and eventually meets his mother and father, and it's almost like life is continuously putting up roadblocks to get to his mother at first, and then continuously trying to help him find his father, which in a way does kind of help him help his mother. And I think towards the end of the book, it leaves off in a way that I think it's very possible that, there's another book in this series. I definitely think where it ended, you could call it a day. But at the same time, I wouldn't mind stepping back into this world and seeing what happens to Tim. Obviously, now he's kind of adjusted. He's accepted the fact that who he is now, who he was before, is gone. He's made amends with his mother and his father. His father does end up going to jail. And his mother gives him the phone number to say, stay in contact. You obviously know loss. Which she's still not fully on board. I don't think, even by the end, that, this was her son Tim, now in a older person's body. But I definitely would say there's a lot of room, and I think it would be a cool world to jump back into and see what happens. See Tim still, trying to adjust, trying to, come out of this place where, he wasn't happy in the body he was, reincarnated with, which, like I said, is a really interesting topic. We haven't touched about it on the channel before, but, like I said, a lot of people think of reincarnation as that cycle. You're born, you live, you die, and then you're born again, obviously young. But with this one, jumping into an older body, it really kind of opens up a lot of weird things. Like, was he always reincarnated, and just at that time, did he reawaken his memories of his past life? And I think that's an interesting topic. We definitely will have to jump into reincarnation at some point and at least talk about it. Doesn't mean we believe in reincarnation or anything like that. I just think it's a really fascinating topic. Obviously, no one knows what happens after this. Reading this book has given me some ideas and maybe some possible videos, and I definitely hope we get to see more from this world, if not at least Olivia's journey as an author. Like I said, the links to Amazon is in the description below. It's also now on Goodreads. It wasn't before, but I was able to get it on, so I was the first person to shelve it as well, which was also pretty cool. So make sure if you read it, and you're on Goodreads, leave a good review. If you're on Amazon, read it, leave the review as well. Let's try to help out Olivia. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this Culz book review. It's a little bit different. We don't do a lot of fiction books, but I think in the future we will. We do so many nonfiction books and a lot of, research material. It's always kind of nice to let your mind delve into a world that you can just kind of enjoy and sit back and relax. And I definitely think it's something we'll start doing more often. At least for me, it really helps just relax the mind. We do so much research and we're always thinking of new topics. So this was cool. Even though I still thought of a new topic, it gave me some time to just mentally relax and enjoy a story. So I enjoyed it. I hope you guys go, pick this up. Olivia's a local author from Colorado, so it's always nice to help support other people that are in our home state. But if you want to see more Culz book reviews, click that link to your left. If you want to see more about what we're doing here at Culz Paranormal, click the link to your right. And don't forget to hit that like and give us a subscribe. And let us know, if you read Forgotten, what did you think of it? And also, reincarnation, how do you think it works?